Making Sense of Wellness, Episode 1: Why Food Labels Confuse Even Smart People. If you've ever picked up a food label and thought, why does this feel harder than it should? This video is for you. This isn't about doing food perfectly or learning a bunch of rules. It's about understanding why this has felt so confusing in the first place. Hi, I'm Dr. Jessica Bacon. I create physician-designed wellness education. What we're talking about here is not medical advice, it's education meant to help things finally make sense. And I want to say this clearly right from the start. If food labels confuse you, there is nothing wrong with you. A lot of people think the reason that they struggle with food is because they're not disciplined enough or that they're not motivated enough. That couldn't be further from the truth. They assume everyone else has this already figured out and that they somehow missed the memo. That belief creates a lot of unnecessary pressure and shame. Here's what I see instead. I see food labels written in a way that's genuinely hard to understand unless someone has taken the time to explain them. Most people were never taught how to read food labels. They were just handed packages and told, make good choices. That gap alone creates confusion and self-doubt. Here's one of the reasons that food labels feel so hard. You're expected to make sense of serving sizes that don't match how people actually eat. You also see confusing nutrition terms, long ingredient lists, and health claims on the front of the package that sound reassuring. All of that adds up to a lot of mental effort for everyday food decisions. When you pause for a moment and take a step back, it becomes clear this isn't about intelligence or effort. This is about a confusing system that expects people to understand things they were never taught. So if food labels have felt hard, that actually makes sense. Are you ready for an idea that's going to change everything? Food labels are not a test of willpower or discipline. They are simply information. And once you see them that way, the pressure will start to ease. Did you just breathe a big sigh of relief? It's true. Once you stop seeing food labels as a judgment about you, the stress level drops dramatically. You stop asking, am I doing this wrong, every time you pick something up. Instead, you start to feel more grounded and less reactive around food. Another part of the confusion is how noisy food labels have become. There are a lot of claims and buzzwords, but there's very little explanation. All of that noise makes it really hard to feel confident about making simple food choices. Do you know what all that constant noise does? It leads to you doing a whole lot of second guessing. You spend more mental energy on food than you should have to. Over time, that decision fatigue makes food feel heavier and far more stressful than it actually needs to be. That very reason is why this affects even smart, well-intentioned people. You are trying to make thoughtful choices with unclear information, and that mismatch creates frustration. It is not a failure. In addition, real life also makes this harder. You're busy, you're tired, and food decisions happen over and over again throughout the day. When that clarity and simplicity are missing, the repetition becomes exhausting. That's when people get tired. That's when they don't analyze or experiment. That's when they fall back on their defaults and old habits. They reach for foods they already know because they don't have the energy or mental space to work through something new. Here's a point I want you to take with you. Clarity comes before change. Everything we've talked about here is meant to give you clarity, not instructions. I'm not trying to teach you how to read every label in one video. The goal here is to help you understand why this has felt so confusing and so frustrating in the first place. When you want more help reading food labels, what you need is not more rules. You need a calmer way to look at food, clearer explanations, and less fear around getting it wrong. That is what reduces the mental load and cuts down your level of stress around food. If you would like to go deeper with food labels, there is a structured Decoding Food Labels walkthrough that teaches these ideas step by step without turning food morality into a project. The link is in the description below this video. And whether or not you ever use it, the most important takeaway is this: food labels don't have to be stressful once you understand what they are actually saying. Thank you for being part of why food labels confuse even smart people. I hope you'll join us again for the next episode of Making Sense of Wellness. Making Sense of Wellness is part of Create the New Reality and the Phoenix Renewal ecosystem, a body of work built around one simple purpose: generating clarity so you can rewrite your story and live your wellness legacy. Physician-created wellness education. This content is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not medical advice and is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Always consult your qualified healthcare provider with questions regarding medical conditions or treatment.